The Flogcast may occasionally contain explicit content that makes it not safe for work or for minors. It also doesn't provide an excuse to use the same words on Bay 13. Normal big footy rules still apply.
Alright, so this is the Flogcast for round 4. The emotionally checked out Tiger Starburns is here, and I'm joined by, returning for the first time since last year or 2 years ago. We've got a few. We call this the heritage episode, I think, of the Flogcast, because returning we have one of our foundation members, the loudest member of the West Coast Boo Crowd, Bender.
Good evening.
Also, we have, returning a bit too late to drink up the bathwater from the Bulldogs, we have Ant.
Yeah, I thought I'd have a bite this week.
And also joining us for her first appearance this year, I think, the leader of Bay 13's Vag Gang from West Coast, Wooshette.
Hey guys and girls.
Go or tears. There's plenty to go with this week, but let's have a crack at that first up.
Can I have a combined go and tears?
Sure.
For Liam Ryan, and for first of all, actually, showing something at the Eagles and then looks like he's broken his ankle in the same game. You guys don't know who Liam Ryan is, do you?
So how am I going to describe him? Is he the...
How do we politically correctly describe him? He was the second pick, or the third pick for the Eagles this year. Small forward.
The
Yeah.
darker guy. Yeah, sorry.
He's, according to Always Balling, Black Excellence. Hashtag Black Excellence, I think.
There you
So,
go.
so did he actually break it, did he?
There's something, well, apparently he's been advised it's an extended period on the sidelines.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's-
he
Was
won't,
that from
he won't,
the,
be, he
that
won't be
soccer
back
kick?
within the next month, I think, is the gist. Yeah.
No, yeah, from the soccer goal when he landed on it in the goal square, gave us back the lead and then came off straight away.
Mm.
Ouch.
It's hurt a few Supercoach teams too, so I think everybody can have a bit of tears over that particular one.
Yeah.
That's true.
Just
He was
leading
a
on
popular
from
choice.
that one, did anybody see the guy at the Masters do his ankle? Did any of you see that?
No,
I heard of it. He got a hole in one, didn't he?
Did you do
hit a hole
it
in
celebrating?
one, and he
Yeah.
was celebrating, jumping around, and he was sort of jumping backwards, and he dislocated his ankle, like the whole thing came out sideways,
Oh,
and he just reached down and pushed it back in and carried on. You had to see it. It was crazy. He just like casually leaned down and like just with his hand just pushed his ankle back in.
As you do.
It's making me cringe thinking about it, to be
Oh,
honest.
you Google it. It's real. It looks insane.
So I'm Googling it now, and all I'm getting is Happy Gilmore clips. I don't really-
All right, I've got some goo. I'll go goo. Obviously, Nick Nat. Like, wow, he's just so athletic. He's just so good, and he makes
he's so athletic.
a massive difference. He is. He's an athlete. No.
Which one's Nick Nat again? How would you describe him?
The big fella. Yeah, he was just sensational.
Probably plays for Fremantle, isn't he?
Well, according to them, he's overrated, overpaid, over everything. So, But yeah, goo, definitely for him. We're just so much of a better team when he's playing, like he just makes such a massive difference. And to come back like that after he hasn't played for what, roughly a year and a half or something?
Basically,
Season
yeah.
and a half. So, yeah. And who else got some goo?
Well, I've got... Sorry.
Shepherd, definitely, yeah. Shepherd got some goo. And Tears, the score review system. That is just gone to the shit completely. I'm not against it if it's used, just to see if the ball hit the goalpost or something that's, maybe a little bit dodgy like that. But they're just taking it to everything now. If the umpire calls it, let him do his job. Leave it alone, And the reviews are like, what, a minute and a half, 2 minutes or something, and they still get the fucking thing wrong.
Oh.
And it was actually, this one was at a crucial time in the game, and it was wrong. After all that, it was wrong. What is the point if they're going to get it wrong anyway?
Yeah, because that would have been called a goal without the review, and yet they got it wrong on review, which, if that sounds stupid, it's because it is.
It sounds ridiculous. It's
They need a bit of
beyond
cricket
stupid.
stuff, like, some hotspot and DRS and...
Snicko.
That's like that Kawaja one from years ago in the Ashes where he didn't hit it and they reviewed it, and you can see there's half a foot between the bat and the ball, and they still give it. It's just like...
That was just
I'm
really,
gonna
really stupid.
I'm going to steal a joke from the West Coast board, and someone said that, to be fair to the guy that was doing the goal review, he was thinking about the rave he had to put on after the final siren, so he's too distracted from that, to think about judging it properly.
The rave lights.
I've got some tears from the weekend. I really feel bad for Joey Danaher. I mean, 16 points down, you take a mark with 10 metres out, and then you handball. With the momentum going your way, fuck him.
How dumb do you have to be?
Take your kicks, man. From that far out.
He would have done it side on anyway. He would have got to be a wanker about it too. Like, look like he's kicking a hard snap, because that's what he does from that close. That was pretty funny though. And seeing fucking that little fat rodent Josh Green fuck it up too was just part of the fun. Well, I was going to have tears for the reviews, but Wooshette's sort of stolen that. So I have tears for something else officiating related. The bounce. Did anyone notice how many got called back on Friday night? And it happened throughout the weekend, but they were just...
Well, isn't this a conspiracy theory that they did it on purpose to try and get rid of the bounce?
They're throwing the bounce, you reckon?
They have to be doing it on purpose.
And then the umpiring...
the bounce.
Yeah, and then whoever's looking after the umpires now, is it Hawking? He's actually come out and said, no, that's ridiculous. We would never take on our bouncing.
It's just like...
I have to find the article again. Umps critics a disgrace. There you go. AFL slams media.
Was it Bannister? Was Bannister the old Carlton player that became the umpire?
Yeah, and he couldn't bounce it, could he?
Yeah, because he's just tanking is in his blood. That's why he's just going to help it, but ruin the bounce.
He was a trendsetter, man.
And wasn't the bounce the biggest issue they had when they tried some female umpires?
Yeah, that was... She couldn't bounce it, Elaine.
Yeah. So that might have something to do with the tanking too.
No, apparently it hurts their backs, which was never a problem before. But now they can't do it. Now they can't bounce it straight. And yeah, it has to be a conspiracy. They fucked it up so many times to start this season. It has to be on purpose. Like, there were Bronx cheers during the third quarter. I was at Friday night's game when one went up straight. And it was just like, it was whole crowd-wise. It wasn't even just, one team does the Bronxies. It was just everybody knew that it had been disgraceful.
It'll be gone by next season.
It will be.
Sadly.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Maybe they can have super bouncers. Umpire X, man. That can be the new off-season thing.
Maybe they can start the game off with, they'll get a drone, they'll fly it in via drone and have the drone sit above the square and drop the ball and fly away. So that will be the new bounce or something like that.
Gil's sitting there writing notes as we speak because he listens in. He's on our Skype.
Oh, the cut of his jib. Get me 50 drones right now. Yeah.
And we'll cover them in LED lights that flash, flash, flash.
Yeah.
Speaking of LED lights and the flashing and all that, we'll begin with Geelong West Coast, which is probably the most entertaining game of the round. This had a lot going on in it. It was a good contest in the end, but it was bizarrely funny finish overall. What we got on that?
So we know that Geelong players and fences don't go very well. They drop their knees into the fence and things happen. It's not like Selwood give the ball.
Can you imagine if Selwood hit it? If the other guy started bleeding, can you imagine if Selwood went to the fence?
He'd tear his throat out.
It'd be like something out of a slaughterhouse.
I reckon he would have got a free kick for it as well if Selwood ran into the fence. They're like, no, that's it. Even if he fell over his own feet. Would you say it's part of our new cheat ground advantage? Is the close fence?
You've got your cheat ground with your rough fence, and I'm sure this will all come out. But all the West Coast players probably have like calloused hands and stuff in preparation. They've been practicing with something just to toughen up those hands over the off season, so they can push into the fence and not start bleeding. But Tui was pushed into the fence, wasn't he?
He was too near me. I know. I saw Blitzarves fall over. Was it Blitzarves?
Yeah, Blitzarves. Yeah, he didn't need to be pushed. He's just clumsy.
Yeah, he fell over. Yeah.
Well, one of them had 14 stitches in his hand.
That's more than Selwood has in his head per game.
Yeah, I don't know how they got away with that. What were they saying? That the LEDs are sharp when you first put them in, but they smooth out over time.
What is this erosion? Is it? Is it the wind's going to smooth them out?
Actually, yeah, that's it. The Fremantle doctor will erode them down and make them nice and smooth. You know. Like,
Well, I've got LED downlights at my house. Maybe I'll just put my hand on them, see if I cut myself, because they're fairly big. Let's test that theory out.
Yeah, we'll just do one today and do one in 2 years' time, and and let us know how it goes.
Yeah.
Did Brad Scott complain about it, or Chris Scott? Which one's the? It's Chris, isn't it? It's
Chris.
the Geelong one. Did he complain about the LEDs?
No, he's all for a cheap ground advantage.
Yeah. No, he was actually.
What sort of
he was pretty reserved. I think it was on. Was it 360? He was on. I saw him.
Yeah,
he was quite reserved. You could see he was seething, but he kind of kept it. You know, he kept it on the low.
He's still upset with Clarkson and the whole ducking thing, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he couldn't hold back on that. That was pretty. Yeah. There was so much butthurt came out over that when that got raised.
That's all right. Piopolo kind of ducked this week, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, but it doesn't make it okay. Yeah, so the fence and the goal review were farcical. What else have we...
I thought Geelong played pretty well, considering they normally, after playing epic games against Hawthorn, they normally shit the next week.
Yeah, well, they did well to get back into the game before all the injuries hit and West Coast basically pinched it. Like, the goal review probably should have halted their momentum a bit earlier if it had gone the right way. But
and it's interesting they had the same amount of scoring shots as well.
But Ablett pulls a hammy and, Selwood goes missing.
Stop the presses. The 30s player has a hammy.
Yeah, I know.
They had a bad day or bad night all around, really. They lost. They had 3 players. They were down to 1 on the bench at the end, weren't they? They had 2 players shred their hands on the fence, you know.
Nick Nat monstered them.
Nick Nat. Oh, how was that tackle? Oh, how
Who was that poor kid?
Oh, he tossed him over his head like a rag doll.
It's like a wrestling move.
Just flopping around, like, it was beautiful.
It sounds like you had a bit of tears there for Geelong. Maybe we should have had that at the intro. You feel sorry for them.
Oh,
yes, I feel very sorry for Geelong.
Oh, fuck no. No way.
But West Coast probably deserved to win that game. Geelong really only played about a quarter and a bit of football. And it was good football, but they caught them on the hop a bit.
What about the Sunday night, the disco, when Hawkins the kickies, all the lights started flashing, the songs started playing. Oh, I thought that was hilarious.
The thing is, I reckon they were probably, after the win, they were going to let Benny out of his cage onto the ground so he could dance in the light show. Bring him back on for a bit of nostalgia and have him having a fit out under the lights.
Like
cut himself to shreds on the LEDs. All right.
I was waiting for the centre of the ground to sort of like lower and then like a dance floor come up, with the checkered lights. Like
maybe with Sher just popping out in the middle or something,
Yeah.
Thinking the 2006 side coming back out to...
It is a modern ground for WA, so having like a 1980s theme seems to fit in perfectly, doesn't it?
Yeah, she's still topping the charts over here, man.
So you were there, Bender. What were the lights like actually when you were there?
It's funny because at the time it happened, I think we were too stoked that the game was over and we'd won. And then it kind of took a second to think, like, hang on, there's someone kicking on goal here. Like, why are the lights flashing like crazy and the song's playing? They usually wait till the goal is kicked or missed or whatever. But I think someone maybe had a bit of a mess in their shorts and pressed the button a bit too early or something. I don't know. It was a bit weird, but it kind of took a few seconds to sink in. Like it wasn't just straight away because we were too busy, obviously, getting stoked about the win. Yeah, but I think it might have been honestly a bit of whoever's the ground day manager, if they work directly for the Eagles, has obviously been waiting all summer to put this light show on for them to get a win, and then they finally got it. So they're just like, oh, put it on,
Yeah.
So I think I'm kind of got a bit like that, but it was cool, but
it's like
it was a
two
bit
guys up
premature. Yes. But
yes.
It was funny. It was funny at the time. It kind of topped off Geelong's night, really, didn't it?
Well, look, he still kicked the goal, and it was like a real tough goal as well. It wasn't an easy kick that he kicked.
But it's funny, like the fence just would not leave Geelong alone all game.
It's still haunting him after the siren.
So is this called fence gate or gate gate?
Gate
Oh,
fence.
Gate fence.
Gate fence.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The siren's gone and Tui and Blixarves are trying to shake hands, and along comes the fence to troll them further. But no, West Coast were good. Nick Nat makes them look a lot better. Like, it's funny, West Coast cop a lot over their midfield and, you know, how contested it is. But when Nick Nat puts it into space, like some of the ones he gave to Shuey on the weekend, that's the sort of difference he makes.
Yeah, and I've got a bit of goo too, actually, which I forgot about, which I wanted to throw in. Sam Mitchell. I mean, you know, we did cop a little bit when we recruited him, but at the end of the day, we didn't really recruit him to play. All right, he played one season, but that was, you know, to help us out and get to know the group and how they play, I would assume. And but I've got no doubt that he's got a lot to do with how well we're playing at the moment. You know, he would have brought a lot of experience, a lot of hardness. We got rid of Pritis, who, you know, I'll never bag him. He's fantastic. He was a fantastic player,
Legend.
but he
Well, hang
he's
on.
a
We
legend.
got two West Coast supporters here, so 50% of you have to bag him. According to Big Footy.
I was doing it in. I was doing it in my mind. It's all right.
I won't ever bag
Could you not hear the gnashing of teeth?
No, I won't ever bag him. I was a fan, but it was he retired at the right time.
Were you a fan of his kicking?
Look,
Like
he won a
past 10
Brownlow,
metres, though?
and- Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't ask that question about the Brownlow. I asked him about kicking.
Yes, I'll say yes. I think he did more good than he did bad, so I'll say yes. But what I'm saying is I think him retiring, Sammy coming into, you know, coach the midfield there and a few new players in, I think we look like a rejuvenated team at the moment, and I think you have to give a bit of goo to Sammy for that. I saw him sitting down there at half time with the boys and having a chat and all that, and yeah, I think he's going to make a good. I think he'll make a good difference to our. We needed it. We were stale. We looked like a stale team. We've looked like a stale team for a few years.
Just before we move on from that game, Bender. So you've had a chance to experience 2 games, I'm guessing, at the new stadium.
Yeah.
How does it stack up as far as the reverberation of the boos? Is it still the same hostile environment? Can you still get that noise of affirmation going on with the larger stadium?
I think the acoustics are better for the boos, but I think the crowd is still kind of getting used to this new area and isn't quite putting the same effort into their boos.
So is it kind of like they're going, oh, it's no longer wooden seats, they're plastic. I feel
Yeah,
posh.
that's exactly what it is. They're like, hang on, cup holders, and like, you know, and people, you know, kind of teetering around them, afraid to sit too close to them, you know, like.
I'm not angry about my seat. I'm not already enraged.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is a true story. The place where I sat on at Subi, the toilets in my block had a broken lock on the shitter for 15 years. They never got fixed. And for me to be able to go into the toilet at the moment and lock the door is just this like huge issue. Like, you know, I'm like high-fiving people on the way out for like, you know, not walking in on me, you know. No, but honestly, it's. I think that the screaming is a lot louder, but I don't know. Does it sound like people aren't booing as much? I think it does.
No. But considering there's 10,000 more people there was 54, wasn't there? And
yeah,
what
so it
was
was
the
50 plus, definitely.
Yeah, I think it was close to 54, and the capacity of Subi was. I mean, if we had 40,000 there, it was practically capacity. So you had 10,000 people more. And I think that goal review, especially at Subi, I reckon it would have brought the whole place
would have cracked the foundation.
It would have exploded.
Wouldn't have needed a controlled demolition at the end of the day. Just play that goal review at Subi, and then the fans would bring the place down.
Do you know what I mean? So for 10,000 people more, I didn't think the booing was as loud as it should have been.
No, it doesn't feel like it.
That's concerning that one of the great traditions might be disappearing from our game.
Yeah,
Just
I think
like
it's the 12,000 new people. The 12,000 new people need to be broken in as such, you know what I mean? They need to learn that they got to complain about everything.
All the In the Wings members don't know what it's really like.
So there's
Exactly.
a combination. So there's a combination of new people and less splinters in your ass. So nobody is angry right now, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And the other
Just get them to bang on the fence. That'll piss a few of them off.
So literally, when you're in there and someone goes, "Oh, sorry, mate," you got your pants
well,
down,
look, of the fairly infrequent occasions that I would take a dump at the footy, let's be honest, it's not something that you want to do regularly. But you'd just be like, I'd just be holding the door closed, you know what I mean? So.
Oh, there's nothing worse when you're trying to hold the door closed with one foot and sit on the toilet. Oh, man.
You wonder why we're so angry, Anne. Walked out of there like, ready to punch on and boo everything I can,
No toilet paper. What do you do, man? Well, I take bits of the splinters out of my ass.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next game, which was, the Dogs have put Essendon into a nosedive, and we did preempt this last week saying how good it would be if the Dogs rolled Essendon after all the pre-season hype, and sure enough, they put a massive pin in Essendon's season, and Essendon did not take it well.
Well, it was always on the cards. I mean, they have the worst midfield in the league. They've got no contested ball winners, and that's the Bulldogs' strength. We're coming off a couple of crap weeks. Barrett's been calling us out, saying the players aren't kicking to each other and bullshit like that. Of course, they're going to come out firing.
And Essendon, they had their chances. Of course, Joe Danaher fucking it up was just one of many mistakes for the day. Stringer barely touched it.
Well, if the Dogs kicked straight, it would have been a 60-point loss. Cause, I mean, they blitzed them in the first couple of quarters.
14,
it was only towards the end.
14 goals, 20.
It was good to be back on the winners list. Winners are grinners. And right now, too bad Dan isn't on, because I can't go on about Old Man North, but we are, on average, the youngest team in the league by about 20-something%. One of the Dogs guys on the Bulldogs board is a statistician type, so apparently, we're...
I thought you were going to say winners are grinners and losers are biters for a second.
Oh, that works.
Just before we come to Conor McGregor, do we have Morgs?
Hello.
Hi, Morgs.
Hi.
Morgs.
Hi.
Hi.
We're just talking about biting.
Oh.
Sink your teeth into it.
You just came in at the right time.
Oh. So I had a question. If there was ever a bulldog to bite, why would you bite the dick?
Tinder Dixon.
I don't know. It seems like the obvious choice to me.
Well, that's the thing. That's the defense, because his nickname is Tinder Dixon at the Dog. So McKenna should go the defensive. He already had that from the girl he hooked up the night before with. Well, I love
obviously all the drugs, the drugs are injected with a few years ago have all started to take effect, and they're turning into fucking vampires, like The Walking Dead.
Yeah, it's the side effects of boners, a tan, and biting people. Yeah.
I've never seen someone so angry at being caught in a tackle, though.
No,
This is where how low Essendon's recruiting has gone to. They're trying to bring the undead into their squad. It's just no good.
Doesn't it seem like a massive overreaction to something that was very normal that would happen during a game?
Have you guys heard what McKenna has said as his defence?
No.
I probably wouldn't understand it if he did say it.
Well, he's come out and said that he's completely innocent, and Dixon pushed his face into his. Therefore, he went a bit lower and bit him on the neck.
Oh, that's
his defence. Apparently, he doesn't wear a mouth guard either, so that's part of his defence.
What he was saying was, I was going to actually bite his nose off, but he pushed my head down, and I got him on the neck instead.
Awesome.
This is all very sexual. I can't help but feel like there's more to it than just I went down, I bit his neck.
I think McKenna has swiped right for Tinder Dixon.
Yeah.
It's one of those really bizarre things. You don't hear about it often. It's like, it's completely wrong, but at the same time, you just go, how the fuck do you end up in this point?
I was actually reading on the Essendon board that they were saying that this happens quite a lot in Gaelic football. They bite each other. So they're actually, one of them actually said, and I thought it was quite clever, that they should go for, this is racist,
cultural discrimination.
Yes. Go the Katie Brennan defence.
Biting is just an Irish thing.
They see something that looks like a potato, they chomp down.
Well, you often biting Tom Boyd.
They could have taken a bite out of any of those players because they're all fucking potatoes. And they're well cooked.
And Stringer had a great game. He's got the Stone Cold Steve Austin look going right now. Have you seen the bald head? Shocking.
It's probably better than it was before, though.
I don't know. I think the
It was
spring
that,
onion was better
that
than
blonde
his
top knot, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think I prefer the spring onion, man.
He looked like Ric Flair before, so if he looks like Steve Austin, how that's better.
He's basically a 23-year-old going through a really weird midlife crisis.
Well,
Like-
considering he did have kids like 10 years ago, so that makes sense.
Well, but as we were saying earlier, though, back to the game, Essendon have been found out. They've got a forward line. They've got a hooker who can play it down back when they've got no midfield. They've got a forward line, that's it. You can't
Yeah, the
win.
midfield's still the problem, and none of the guys they brought in address that. For all the stringers going to play midfield, you know, he's gone and taken a dump on that particular theory.
Oh,
What's Smith doing?
Playing forward, I think. Yeah.
And also they've got Sard down back who's not accountable, so that's always...
So
You know,
they've
he's
got
shocked.
basically-
He's in the back line. He's saying, "I'm shocked to be sitting here." You know,
They've basically got the opposite problem that we've got. We've got that many mids,
Yeah, if you merged your teams together, you'd have a fully functioning AFL side.
except we wouldn't do that because we don't merge with cheats.
You know, or merge it all. Hawthorn.
No,
Anything else on any of that? I think we went pretty light on Conor McGregor. I mean, he hasn't had a good week.
I think his name's Conor McKenna. So,
Same thing.
they're all the same. How would you describe them?
Angry.
Same temperament, really. Like
Conor McGregor's had some success. Conor McKenna's a nobody.
Well, he's had some success based on the Taylor Walker description of it. No, he hasn't. Essendon don't win finals either. Nothing else on that. It was pretty funny to see the Dogs come out and do that to Essendon after everything that's happened in the first few weeks. It really just resets a lot of expectations.
And I did like a lot of people getting stuck into Damien Barrett after the game. Over his, like the Dogs don't kick to each other and stuff like that. It was even media people were going, "Oh, Will Anderson had a crack at him."
Posters Matt Dougie, doesn't he?
Yeah, I can't believe they go believe that. Lockie Hunter's dad had a crack at Barrett as well. There's a few people who were having digs at Barrett over that thing. So.
There's a poster on the TD board, Drew Street Danny, and I reckon it's Danny McGinley.
No.
Just because his name's Danny.
That's like Bombers getting all upset because Lunch Lady Doris was a man.
I bet Danny
There
McGinley
was more
years
to it
ago,
than that, though.
he wasn't that funny back then. He's still pretty average now.
Well, obviously, he lost his job.
Oh, he's one line, all right. But...
Let's move on from that game really quickly. Did anyone see the Koalas and the Giants?
I've seen a little bit of it. Tim Taranto
Tim
missing
Taranto.
from the goal square.
Fucking hell.
Oh, I think I laughed for about 10 minutes at Tim Taranto after that.
It's
That's
just
like
like
an
Danaher's one, but he would have lined up directly in front.
Yeah, he was like 5 metres out, took a mark, surrounded by people for some reason, he played on. It was just...
It was basically Nick Revolt, Heath Shaw.
Oh, but the best part of it was Nick Rewalt was in commentary, and then they gave it to Nick Rewalt for about 5 minutes, and then Heath Shaw took the mark, and then they're like, "Oh, he's speaking of Heath Shaw," and Rewalt's like, "Not again." It was really funny. Like Alistair Lynch is like, "Oh, it happened to me in 1989 against Sauce, blah blah blah," and Nick
And everyone
Rewalt
said,
goes,
"Shut the fuck up, Alistair Lynch. Nobody cares."
Rewalt goes, "Was it a grand final?" He's like, "No."
Well, at least he's got a sense of humour about it.
Oh, well, he had to. It was just the perfect scenario, and he absolutely copped it, but he took it really well.
So, are we talking about those old schoolgirl photos still, or?
Nah. From Armitage, he took it really well.
No, I thought
Zach
Armitage
Dawson
took
there
it really
holding
well.
Oh, yes, hat tip to Armitage. Armitage to Rip.
But yeah, the Koalas did enough to beat him. The Giants probably didn't make the most of their chances when they had the chance with Taranto fucking up at the end there and a couple of other mistakes.
Yeah, Lob missed. I think if Lob had kicked his shot on goal and Taranto hadn't have had a fucking brain fart, the Giants would have been right in it. But, yeah, the Koalas just kicked away.
That goal from Buddy.
It was a very good goal, but apparently, if you listen to the commentators, it's like 80 metres out or some bullshit. You're like,
He kicked it from nearly 60, 65. It was a long...
That's SCG numbers, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Not quite the 50.
It's like
like
cheap
feet.
distance.
Didn't kick it from the bridge. Like, settle down.
It was a good kick, but they always seem to add a bit of buddy meters. It's like, Rioli gets a touch and they say, "Oh, it's magic." Yeah.
Buddy meters.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many meters is it in real meters compared to buddy meters?
That's why when he went for that run like last year or the year before, and he ran 20 meters and he get called for it because it was buddy meters. You know, like,
Exactly.
If it's buddy meter, didn't he run 30?
no. It goes both ways, just like I said.
It's a multiplication divide thing, depending on.
Exactly, yeah.
Just like Nick Greenwald, goes both ways.
Do we have anything else out of that game? It was a reasonable standard game. It was much better than the other alternative on the Saturday, but
Yeah, it seemed to be alright when I flicked it on. But again, who gives a shit about those two teams?
did you catch the post match of that?
No.
There was a bit when they had Isaac Heaney on, and Dermot Brereton kept asking Heaney about his mum.
Was he trying to pick up?
Well, he was trying to get her come onto the TV, and they actually had her on the screen. If it was who I thought it was, I was like, oh, I see what Dermie's doing here, because she's not bad. But it's just really...
So Isaac Heaney has a MILF.
Yeah, and Dermot was very keen to get her to appear on camera. When he was interviewing Heaney, he was like, he mentioned some just random conversation he had with her in Geelong a few years earlier. He was like, you should get her on the TV. Do we have her there? And it's just like...
He does have blonde hair. Maybe, you know.
Yeah, father son.
No, if he was a Hawthorn father-son, they would have traded him to Sydney anyway.
Ask your mum what she was doing 20 years ago at the Tunnel
Well,
nightclub.
Dermot played for Sydney for a stretch, didn't he?
He did.
Maybe that's part of the academy.
the Dermot
Oh,
Brereton
Dermot's
Offspring
bastard
Academy.
children.
He was laying down the foundations.
Yeah.
I think we'll move on from that game.
Dermie hasn't moved on from it.
Let's go to Collingwood won the battle of the no wins.
You mean the Battle of the Big Four?
Yes, on the Friday night. Bosk, hello.
You wish you could get 68,000 people to a game, you fucking plebs. Yeah, it was a
Shit game.
scrappy, ugly looking game, but there were a lot of positives, I think, for us that we can take out of that. I think Buckley, for once, I could actually turn around and say he coached well, in that probably 10 minutes in, we were 4 goals down, looking down the barrel of Buck and losing to these scumbags again. And instead of just persisting with something that wasn't working, he took Cox and Reed off, went small for a bit, and managed to turn the tide. And yeah, then we got some semblance of a forward line going with Josh Thomas kicking 5 goals, which is fantastic. Looks like he is starting to repay the faith, which is nice to see. And Pendlebury played a defensive game.
That's what you would expect from the best player in the competition.
I was, really interested to see him sacrifice his game and play in a defensive role. And I'm sure your dad walked away from that game, Starburns, thinking it was the best thing he's ever seen. Like, amazing. What a game.
I literally heard Starburns' dad say he's the next Bontempelli.
Did Buckley get an extension on the back of that win?
Yeah, I think so. Another
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah.
They can pay it.
But I didn't get to do Goo or Tears, but I'd just like to have Tears for David King, because that fucking moron seemed to think that Carlton have better youth than us and they have a better list, like, moving forward than we do. And I would like to tell him that he is categorically fucking wrong, because on Saturday when we played him in the VFL, we scored 201 points against them.
I actually
they
saw
scored-
that and thought it was a screen, like a Photoshop at first.
No, it wasn't like our banner and incorrect. What you were saying is right. We did score 201 points.
See, I
against
saw
them.
that you scored 201 points, but I didn't actually catch who it was against. I thought they brought back fucking Bendigo Gold or something.
No, it was against the Northern Blues. And what a fantastic weekend. To beat them on a Friday and then to smack them on a Saturday. Delicious. Absolutely delicious.
But according to the stat sheet, they do have a better list.
Yeah.
Numbers don't
Well,
lie. Kenny
according-
said so.
Well, the numbers that do tell the truth are the ones that I can show you from the score sheet, you stupid fucking moron.
Well, David
So-
King also said that Stringer isn't the problem at the Bulldogs. The next week we come out and smack them.
David King basically gets a copy of the champion data prospectus at the start of the year and then just reads it out for the majority of the year. That's his research.
That's him and Dwayne Russell. Dwayne just runs off the same cliches like the Dwayne bot, just one after the other, fire starter this if you've just joined us here from the paint.
Is he like the
recites numbers.
the radio in The Simpsons that they were going to replace the radio station with, and you just had like the pre-entered fucking words? That's basically Dwayne Russell and David King?
Yeah,
just little buttons that you press. And
if you put them on together, it's probably...
Russell's okay. This thing's really good.
It's like
Don't praise the machine.
Yeah. Like for a guy whose whole career was based around run and kick and don't look, just run and kick and that's it. He certainly turned his fucking brain around when he stopped playing football. Captain Tactics has no fucking idea.
Oh, he's been useless for years. He's a joker. Absolute joker.
If you need any further evidence, what's his coaching experience?
Was he at Richmond?
Yeah, under Plough, under Wallace. He was an integral part of the 5-year plan.
5-year plan, what could go wrong, man?
Yeah. Anyway, so it was a good win. We got the rising star out of it. Sam Murray, I think he played well.
How's the Collingwood board taking that one?
He did. Yeah, they're not taking it very well, I must admit. So in the Collingwood board, there's a lot of point scoring going on of, I fucking told you so, and we still overpaid, and blah, 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 blah. But I think for the kid, he would know the scrutiny that there is. He would know what's been said about him, and he's come out and done all he can, and I think that's what he needs to do. Just let his actions speak louder than any of their words. If he has a good career, then fantastic. If he doesn't, it was a fucking second-round pick. Who gives a shit?
So is he like your apprentice, is he?
Yeah. I don't know. Did you? No.
So Wooshette thinks he's a good kick, right?
He's not a good kick. He just runs fast.
We just missed earlier when Wooshette was defending Prentice, saying he was.
I wasn't defending him.
You said he was a good kick.
No.
One thing he can't do.
I said he's done more good than bad. That's what.
Yeah, you backed her into a corner on that one, Ant. You wouldn't let her go.
Well, and that toilet door was unlocked.
I did not post in that 10,000 page thread on the Eagles board. I didn't.
Well, you did not in part 1, maybe in part 2.
No.
Oh, God, that sounds like the Can Buckley coach mega thread or whatever it is. I have never been in. I will not go in it. I'm not interested.
I'm going to move a post in that. What? Sorry.
Don't you move one of my posts to there. I don't know. It's the Buckley coach.
I'll edit it to say something really controversial too.
I think it's like a multiple part thing as well. Like it's just gone on forever.
The Prentice thread was like that. It was the worst thread I've ever seen.
Can you edit it to say something like Pendlebury's back? And he's going to save Buckley's career.
Done.
Because it was Buckley's coaching move to put him. He went to him during the week and he said to him, "Look, this is what I want you to do." Like, it's taken you 7 fucking years to go to the bloke and say, "This is what I want you to do. Defend." Fuck. Turns out it worked. Who would have thought? So next week, I hope we're going to have some ins. We'll have DeGoey, I hope, and maybe for Solo, Elliott might need another run in the twos. But they kicked 13 goals between them on the weekend.
Who were they playing, really?
They were playing against Wooshette, but we are going to need a bit more than what we had last week to beat Adelaide. So
what happens with DeGoey? Was it 3 rounds? How long was it for? Is it indefinite?
Indefinite.
No, it was no, like he wasn't missing any rounds. It was just a hamstring injury that was keeping him out. So
it was just the hamstring injury sustained while being drunk and driving? What?
No, it happened when he was training with the VFL side. If he hadn't done his hamstring, he would have played round 1.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough.
Because he was working 2 jobs whilst he trained with the VFL team.
What was the 2 jobs? Did he have to get it was some sort of public servicing, was it?
Yeah, he did the Salvos thing on a Saturday night, and he had to be a landscaper on Monday to Friday.
I thought he was also doing the banners for Collingwood. TONIT. Fucking DeGoey.
He was slurring when he was writing.
And they're all literate in the cheer squad, so they're just phonetic. They just took it down.
But don't the AFL proofread the banners so that you don't put anything controversial on it?
I don't know. Maybe they sent the text of it to the AFL and spelt it right. Then the nuffies on the ground just
autocorrect on the phone. Autocorrect on the phone. Saved it for him.
How many women have passed kindergarten cut and paste?
Either the AFL missed the error or they've read it wrong and still it's been written there for them and they still fucked it up.
It's not as bad as Bomber is. It's bad, but not as bad as Bomber.
It's ballpark though.
It has to be pretty off your face to misspell 4-foot-high letters, though, white on black. I mean, it sticks out, surely that sticks out like dog's balls, doesn't it?
I don't know about everybody else, but, you know, I generally know if a word's spelt right just by looking at it going, that doesn't look right. Like, even before they applied the sticky tape, surely someone would have gone,
But they not
Wait
only
a
they
minute.
actually raised the bloody thing. It's actually up before somebody knows.
Someone realised it.
Well, when they were posting about it on social media, that's how someone in Collingwood went, "You spelled it wrong." That's when I put it down. It was on Twitter, and someone was taking photos and shit like that.
I was in Bunnings today, and they spelt curtain wrong on the end of the aisle. Curtain.
How did they spell it?
Curtias.
Joffa doesn't work down at Bunnings or anything, does it?
It was the Gowie still doing his community service. You know, this is being-
Who checks this shit? Curtain rods on the end of the aisle. One side was spelt correctly because you know how they have dual signs so that you can see what's in the aisle from both ends, from walking both ways. One side was spelt correctly and the other side was spelled incorrectly. Like, who did that? And so I went up the front. I'm like, you know that curtain rods is spelt wrong on the end of that aisle? And they're like, oh, well, we can't change it. I was like, well, you fucking stupid.
You're a hardware store and you can't change your signage.
No, it's get a bit of chalk. Fucking idiots.
Collingwood can change a banner. I think Bunnings can fix their spelling. Let's get into probably mostly the games that don't matter from here on in. The Puffers held on against Brisbane.
Yeah, I watched the very end of that. That's about it.
Yeah, I watched the majority of it, and it was surprising how close it was. It was I'd take nothing away from Brisbane. They looked like they battled, put it that way, but that was all I took from the game was how surprisingly close it was.
They look like they're getting closer.
Yeah, they'll learn to win. So it looks like they've got the foundations there, but they don't quite know how to clinch the tight ones yet. But that'll come. Interesting that our old Quad Strikes was out late. Why do you think that is?
You think he's going to miss another 12 weeks?
Don't know. Why was he out?
I don't know.
Interesting.
Who was out late?
Beams.
Dane Beams.
Oh, okay, right.
Morgs is suggesting an injunction-related injury.
You'd think if the captain plays, they might have got over the line there.
Oh, he had a bit of buddy sore butt, did he?
Yeah, he had his Quad Strikes.
He needs more buddy meters. He'll be there and there.
And which
does buddy meters count a week suspended?
Don't know. Which caused Brisbane to have to change the banner because it was his 150th. So they did a thing where they wrote that on Facebook, like, quick banner change, and then they tweeted to us and were like, "Oh, we're still going to spell check it or something." So, go fuck yourselves, idiots.
They stole my joke. I was just about to make that joke.
Well, you're 2 days late.
I know, it's just depressing, yeah.
You've been beaten by Brisbane by 2 days.
I've been waiting all night to use it, and there we go.
No, they were all right. Port Adelaide, concerning.
Yeah, probably one of the worst 3-0 teams ever.
The most concerning undefeated team at the moment.
Oh, if they get to 9-0, then I'll say that.
But Robertson got dudded on that deliberate at the end too, which was might have been a different game at that con.
I don't know, if you watch the
last
minute and a half, there were a couple of free kicks I reckon could have been paid to the Lions inside 50.
Yeah,
they weren't. Cheat ground advantage.
Indeed. Let's go to, Richmond brought Hawthorn back to earth after, they've been up and about for 2 weeks thinking that the dynasty was opened again.
So what are you doing taking Populo's head off there, man? He didn't duck into it, right?
No, he doesn't. Popolo doesn't duck. No, of course not. Only Selwood ducks.
Yeah, the Big Footy Hawks Twitter account was going off about that earlier today. We're doing screenshots of it, and Messengers got on there. All the Hawthorn mods are getting onto social media to talk about how Popolo did not duck.
Forensic evidence of no duck.
Yeah.
He shrugged it the same way Selwood did. He moves his arms up to lift the tackle up, and it was pretty funny. But I got to admit, I don't really care that much about it that Popolo ducked, and Clarkson should just own the fact that Popolo ducks and that it's still bad for the game. You can exploit the rule as long as it's there. It's the umpire's job not to pay it anymore.
But I like how the fact that
because you've got one that does, it's like saying Like, you can't stand up for a crime because you've got somebody who's committed a lesser crime. Puopolo ducks, or he shrugs, or whatever. Not to the extent that Selwood does. Nobody does it to the extent that Selwood does. But you've got to make sure that your backyard's clean before you go after somebody else.
Yeah, he
My
should have either
backyard's
said
very
nothing or he should own it.
Yeah.
Sorry, but my backyard's very McLean.
But I don't think anyone would care if he owned it and just said, yeah, he does, but I'm not going to tell him not to do it because Chris Scott doesn't tell Selwood not to do it. It's just like, yeah, put the onus back on the AFL.
You know, the players definitely know that how to do it. I was chatting to Will Minson once, and he was saying McLean was trying to teach him how to do the arm racing. He said he's too big and clumsy to do it. They know exactly what they're doing, man.
Oh, of course they do.
I didn't watch that game. Was there something with a score review there too?
Oh, fuck yes. They pushed the wrong button. It was just like what we said at the West Coast one with the lights. Yeah, no, they pushed the wrong fucking button. That was clearly a behind, and then it got signalled as a goal by the score review, and everyone's just gone, what the fuck? Everyone saw it on the replay. It was clearly touched. And then the players actually and the umpires didn't start, and they waited for the idiot to correct it. But we nearly got a cheat goal.
Because were you at the MCG at your cheat ground?
We were at our cheat ground, yes.
Yeah.
There was
Just one of the perks. One of the perks of being at the cheat ground.
absolutely.
Yeah.
well,
But don't tell Hardwick that. You know, he'll come and whack you one.
But who have they got pushing all
The
these
coaches
buttons
need to be
this year?
defended.
They got like monkeys pushing the buttons this season, have they?
They've got the same robot that Dwayne Russell and David King they replaced them with. They've got the score review robot up there.
How about that goal?
Yeah, hot dog, we have a wiener.
well, do you remember when the score review first came in and there was a voice that would confirm it, and that voice always sounded the same? It always sounded like the same person, no matter what game was on.
Mm.
It was almost like it was pre-recorded.
Yeah.
That's
It is, it's the
basically
robot.
what they use. It's the robot voice. Do we have anything on that game?
Did you
Yeah,
have
well, I was-
some
I
new
was
kid
gonna-
kick a decent goal? What was his name?
Higgins. Yeah, kicked a couple of good
No,
ones on his first game.
he kicked snags. 2 snags.
Snags.
Ah.
I really like when young players are really enthusiastic, and he was very
loved
happy. He loved it. He's like, oh yeah, kicked a couple of snags.
He belonged at Carlton, really, if he's kicking snags.
No, he's kicking, not cooking.
But he had a good start and, yeah, played pretty well. Tom Mitchell didn't look anywhere near as damaging. With all due respect, Morgs, it's funny what happens when you have a midfield that chases and tackles, unlike Geelong and Collingwood's.
Get fucked, we've got that now. Just a week too late. It's all right. Don't live in the past.
But, yeah, I don't have too much out of that game, really. It was good to see the hunger back there, which wasn't quite there against the Crowbots.
So we was a concerning 2-1 team, eh?
No, we're good. We played well this week as opposed to the week before, in the right ways.
I didn't see this Richmond game yet, but to me they just look like a team. The pressure's off and they're just enjoying their footy. They just look like a bunch of mates out there really enjoying their footy now. You know, they've won the premiership. They just don't seem to have that stress anymore. And yeah, they just look they just look good. I wouldn't be surprised if they're right back up there this year.
Well, hopefully you won't be too far off, as long as no one shits in anyone else's lockers. That can really set you back.
It's a deal breaker, apparently.
But no, it was part of the philosophy last year, though, enjoying the football, which they clearly didn't do in 2016 when they were playing all that chip sideways shit.
Yeah.
You guys are chasing, well, the word is that you're chasing Lynch anyway, along with a whole bunch of other people. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a big dump in his locker next year and after being there for a little bit, being the new full forward that's been picked up.
Yeah, but it's not quite Tom Bond.
If Lynch comes to Collingwood, they can all shit in his locker and I'll volunteer to clean it.
That's a big call.
No, I'm standing by it. I will not get a massage from Mr. Aaron, but I will clean up 44 shits from Tom Lynch's locker.
Well, it'll only be 43 because he's not going to shit in his own locker, surely, unless he's going to just join in for the fun of it.
He is a footballer. They do like pack games.
Yeah.
We're not very smart at Collingwood.
Hey,
There's only a couple more games that we haven't looked at. Crows did it pretty easy over St Kilda in the end. I don't have anything on this. I didn't watch a second of it. Eddie Betts kicked the goal finally for the year.
Oh, Eddie Betts had twins before the game. Eddie Betts' wife.
Yeah, apparently he watched it via Skype, didn't
Yeah, he watched it on FaceTime in the lobby of the hotel. Some guy tried to come up and get a photo with him, and he's like, "Stop! Not now!"
What's he doing in the lobby watching that stuff? Surely there's a better place you can go.
He
Surely.
was watching his wife give birth
Bad
in
reception.
the lobby of a hotel.
Yeah.
It was free Wi-Fi in the lobby. So he went in.
Yeah, she rang him and said that her water had broken and that they were coming right. She was having twins and they were coming right then because he was going to fly home. She's like, "You're not going to make it. They'll be out in half an hour."
I wonder if you had the sound turned up.
I hope he had headphones in at least.
Jeez. The lobby's a
That
pretty
is-
the
that
lobby's a
is
pretty
fucking
dangerous
weird.
place for that, because imagine if Trade Draft was lurking.
Oh. Man, you think you'd at least go into a toilet cubicle or something, you know?
Nah, the
if you-
door's
Oh,
broken. Sorry.
Door's locked.
Just hold it.
I don't think there's a worse
Bender's in there
place
going,
for him to
"Go away!"
If he,
No, you can't come in here. Someone's using it.
he can't go into a toilet if he doesn't have headphones. Imagine that. She's trying to give birth and she's going, and he's in a toilet. That's
Yeah, well,
worse.
at least
Right
it
next
would have
to
sounded
you,
more
yeah, Matt Curry
natural
last
than a lobby. People would have just thought he was having a shit, you know, like, what do you...
Yeah, the afterbirth would have confirmed it when it slid out.
Do we have anything on the game?
No,
I
didn't watch. I didn't watch the game, but I watched 360 before, and they showed us a shot of Alan Richardson talking to his players at 3/4 time, and I didn't know one of them. Who these people are?
Oh, I think they're called Jack.
There were 16 Jacks, but I don't know which one was which. The only person I know was Fatty McCartan, and the rest of them, I don't know who they are.
Yeah, I was going to say Armitage is the other fat one, and Jack Stephen is the third fat one. There's a few fatties on the team.
And then there's Bruce, who looks like a sad lesbian. And then I don't know anyone else. Like, if Hipwood's a lesbian, then Bruce is a lesbian.
Yeah, I got nothing else on this. Let's
Well,
go
no,
to...
bunch of vanilla plotters lost. Who cares?
Yeah, Melbourne broke their streak finally, avoided the ultimate embarrassment. Like, this would have been fold territory, I think, if they lost this. Or merger territory, I guess, more accurately in Melbourne's case.
The lol's back on North.
Yeah, for a week, but they weren't convincing going about it. It was... They
No.
got 4 goals down or something to start with.
Yeah, they didn't turn up in the first quarter at all.
It looked like it was going to happen. It looked like, oh, Melbourne's doing it again.
Melbourne gonna Melbourne.
But they got a bit of a lift as the game went on. I can't think of too much out of this game. Morgs, you were at this
Majak-
game?
Yeah, Majak poleaxed Jordan Lewis, which was delightful.
I saw that
I
in the
th-
top 10 thingy as well, yeah.
I think he played a really good game, Majak. He wasn't bad in defence. He took a lot of good marks. He can kick well. I don't think
He needs to be
he'd
led
be
to the
that
ball.
bad.
Yeah,
Like-
that's...
Yeah, as like a tall third man up defender, he's all right. He can't be your key defender, but he played a good game, I thought. Once again, Ryan Clark was absolutely fucking shit. Billy Hartung put in a stinker. And I don't really remember anything else.
You were sitting near an interesting character, though.
Oh, what a flog. Why would you take your shoes off at the football and just sit there with socks on?
Oh, yeah, banana guy.
And then there's the banana on the floor, which it turned out was a bunch of bananas. There were 2 bananas there that were joined together, and they must have eaten one each. Well, because I missed the first guy ate the banana, but then when I turned around, there was a banana on the ground, and the other guy was eating the banana, and it had been on the floor for 3 quarters.
Fucking North supporters not wearing shoes of football and eating off the floor.
Well,
Look,
Did
did anyone
the
slip
stereotype
over
just
like
won't
Mario
happen.
Kart?
Like,
Did anyone slip
didn't
over the Mario Kart banana peel? Like, or
No, but I didn't see the North guy hit the banana. He had the shoes off. But the other guy had a Hawthorn lanyard on, and he was going for Melbourne because he was obviously pro-merger. And he ate the banana off the ground that I seen.
Well, maybe
And
he
in
just
the
get ready to
photo-
go to Dingley, man. I mean, they're getting into the tip field.
am I missing something here? Is there something wrong with the banana skin touching the outside of the banana skin touching the ground? What's wrong?
Well, I don't think you should eat a banana that's been on the ground. I don't care that you don't eat the skin. It's been on the ground of the MCG where
Yeah, this is the Great Southern Stand as well. This is like 20-year-old concrete, beer-soaked concrete.
No, there's something
filth
very
can
wrong with
seep
that.
through the skin, I think.
No, I
In this
agree.
case.
I'm gonna shame myself and say I'd still eat the banana.
Oh, people spit and everything on that concrete. It's disgusting.
But you
There
don't
were
wash the
Collingwood
outside of the
supporters
banana
sitting there
before you
last night. Yuck.
Exactly. God
But you
knows
hold
what
it.
the hell-
You
what
hold it in
body
your hand.
fluids were touching that banana.
Oh,
And
touching
then
the
you held
outside might be a different story. Yeah.
And he was holding it with two hands.
I was going to say the photo. It looked like he had both his hands wrapped around it when he was eating it.
Yeah, he was really going.
Was it like
he
a
was,
big banana or?
Are we still
Yeah.
talking
Cup
about
of the
Magic
balls.
Door or
he was going in on that banana. He was fucked up. But I was shocked that he didn't notice me sitting there taking photos of him.
Well, some kid did.
Yeah, some people
And
did.
Morgs, how was your experience at the Collingwood Carlton game? What happened to you?
I got
What
punched in the
happened to
face.
you?
What?
Yeah, on Friday night I got punched in the face.
By a Carlton supporter?
no?
Yeah.
It was another Collingwood supporter. They went up to, and she's like TONIGHT. Shut up! It's TON.
No, I was trying to re-enter the game after the ground after half time.
Smoko break.
Yeah, smoko break. Anyway, so I went back into the ground, and as I was trying to re-enter, there was people getting kicked out, and so like I'd scanned my ticket, and I was in the middle of I'd been wandered, and I was in the middle of getting to scan my ticket. And these people were getting kicked out, and they were throwing punches, and one guy punched me right in the jaw.
So he didn't line you up or anything. It was just kind of like a straight fist kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it was a
Accidental.
straight punch. He didn't mean to hit
No,
me.
that,
but-
okay, but still, yeah. No, I
that
didn't.
is-
I'm
I can
saying,
hear the
yeah.
disappointment in your voice there, Amanda.
I feel like what psycho's just gone punched a chick in the face, but it's like if it's kind of caught in the crossfire kind of thing,
Yeah,
kind of
no,
makes it less bad.
But yeah, so I went back in. It took me after that happened, and I took my details down because this guy punched me in the face. And I went back inside. Mum's like, "Where the fuck have you been?" And I'm like, "I got punched in the jaw." She's like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Who punched you?" I'm like, "Oh, sit down, lady. You're not going to find anybody."
This sounds like a Collingwood game.
It's just like, who punched you? I'll fucking snap him.
Yeah, she's like, "You're lucky I wasn't there." I'm like, "Oh yeah, great. That's great." 62-year-old you with lung failure trying to fucking punch somebody.
I went on the Carlton board after you told me that, and I was reading everything to see if I could see anybody that was like, "Oh, we got kicked out, and punches were thrown, and pointed, Morgs, that's him." But I couldn't find anything.
Imagine that'd be so funny.
I know. I scanned every thread on their game.
Oh, make sure you don't like anything. Fucking hell.
No, I didn't. I had my hands tied behind my back. I
The
was
Collingwood
just like-
board only likes positive things on their board. You can't say anything negative, so something
Back
about a
in the
file will
white
be
thread.
deleted very quick. Yeah.
Anyway, pretty shit thing to happen.
Oh no, the Collingwood board, they let lots of things slip. Like my friend posted.
No, this was the Carlton board I was talking about.
Yeah, but we're talking about the Collingwood one. The Collingwood
Yeah.
board let heaps of things slip. In that last week we were out and a bit drunk, and my friend started calling Tim Broomhead Tim Broomleg. No. Tim Broomleg because he's drunk.
Oh,
Oh.
And he's going to be more because I post this. I'm like, don't do that. And he's like, nah, fuck him. He started calling. He's like, oh, I wish Tim Broomleg all the best in his recovery. They're like, they lost their shit.
Anyway, last game, the Puffs beat the Suns in the Suns home game over in Perth. The only thing I'll take out of this is really disappointing because I wanted to see this Gold Coast Suns light show if they got up.
So what are Gold Coast getting out of playing the home games?
Money. Their record crowd by about double.
But the money is the AFL's money, so it's kind of like having a joint account with your partner, and you're saving money together. It's like your money's my money.
It's
Why-
I guess when
why
it comes to
Gold
how much
Coast?
money gets filtered into them, it's good PR that it's only 4 million instead of 5.
It's kind of like when Melbourne got 500,000 for tanking, and then AFL paid them $1 million for Paul Roos. I mean, did they really get fined?
It all finds its way back in. Talking points then. The first one I want to go to was one I forgot to bring up last week. Has anybody seen the Carlton membership video with Andy Lee and Sam Pang and I can't remember who the other one is, where
Who's Sam?
he's the front bar guy.
Oh, the unfunny guy.
So it's an ad where Andy Lee turns up with his dad Mick, and Dave Hughes is in it as well. That's the other fucking idiot.
Not the really unfunny guy.
The really unfunny guy. And they all start, and it's meant to be a Carlton ad. They're all like, he's like, "This is my dad Mick," and they go, "Mick Malthouse, get him out of here." And he's like, no, this is Mick Lee. He goes, "That's exactly the sort of thing Mick Malthouse would pull all this shit." So Carlton are basically trying to sell memberships off the back of Malthouse being unpopular.
I can smell what they're cooking.
Yeah, like, it's just...
It says that Mick Malthouse is privately disappointed but publicly stoic after becoming the butt of jokes in Carlton's latest membership campaign. So was it like really nasty? I haven't seen it.
No, it's just that it's like the whole like making jokes at Malthouse. He's never welcome back.
Oh, so there's a few of them. There's a few of them, is there? There's
Yeah,
like 3
in, like,
episodes
this-
or something.
Yeah, they're all there in like this therapy circle.
Yeah, it looks like it's like some sort of AA meeting or something.
Yeah, it's like the Carlton Supporters Anonymous.
What a miserable fucking club that'd be.
I mean, really, Carlton is a miserable club. I mean, since they outlawed cheating, they've not done anything.
Carlton Supporters Anonymous. Fuck that. I'd rather be a drug addict again.
But who's comes out of that Malthouse saga more embarrassed anyway? Is it Carlton or is it Malthouse? Malthouse got to stick up Eddie and took a games record. Carlton is still shit.
Malthouse
I
went
don't-
on his own terms. He was...
And he lined his pockets again on the way out. Like, he took their money. He got his son employed, fake son. Like, he's happy. Fake dad and fake son reunited, you know, playing kick to kick again. It's a thing of beauty.
It's disrespectful, but at the same time, it's just like it just brings up another embarrassing chapter in yours. They may as well have Steve O'Reilly there trying to stick his way back in.
Yeah, why don't they have that and they have John Elliott? Like, have anything that's really cringeworthy and embarrassing. Have a sausage sizzle. Like, on the way out, be like, "Can you smell what's cooking?" Like, just
We're still coming.
why you want to keep digging this shit up? Like,
Yeah.
you are embarrassing yourselves again.
There's a kiddie ride. It's called Pressure Points.
On the way to the Carlton Supporters Anonymous, they should walk past Fev in like a playground.
With a dildo.
I haven't seen it, but I think it's stupid.
It's very Carlton. Clarko calling out Duckwood. We've sort of covered this already, but he's right to call him out. But how's Chris Scott sulking over it? And
Even his fucking
the fake
alternative
concussions.
facts.
Alternative facts.
Is Scott sooking? I don't believe it. Sorry.
Who invented Trump?
You should have seen him on 360 tonight too. He was such a fucking idiot about it.
Oh.
He has this massive stick up his ass, and like he's like, "It's not ducking." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And
But it's not in the rules either. You can't shrug
Joel
anymore.
has never been concussed for it. Blah blah blah. He's never had a bridle from it. Blah blah blah. Like,
Really
mate,
needs to be said in a like Trump accent. Joel is the greatest, the best. he's totally the best. I mean, I was just talking to him the other day.
There's a distinct feeling of hurt though from the Snot brother at because it feels like they were really close when they met up at the Super Bowl and they spent the night together, and I'm not sure what happened. It's never been spoken of again, but you can feel like he's real cut up about it. Like, I thought we were friends and now you're trashing my team, something's gone wrong.
I never knew you felt this way.
he can't. He literally got more defensive than that Lafro fucking wanker when I said that Wiedering wasn't very good. Like, fucking delusional cunts.
Clarko's right. It's apparently it's in the rules. Like, apparently if you shrugged for high contact now, you're not meant to get a free kick, but the umpires still pay it. And you did mention 360 before, Morgs.
Except Joel Selwood.
Did you catch Richo's spineless answer on that?
Oh yeah, Richo, what a fucking literal coward he was. If he had been sitting across from Alistair Clarkson, he would have fucking agreed with Alistair Clarkson all the way. Because he was sitting across from Chris Scott, oh no, he was a coward. Fucking coward.
He was saying that Selwood doesn't do it to get a free kick. He does it to extract himself from the contest.
Yeah, because he wants to get it
so
out of
brave.
the contest. Oh,
Yes,
what
he
a
wants to
load
get
of
out of the
shit.
contest. Oh, please. because every other player who does it so they get high contact, but only Selwood tries to play.
Well,
on.
if he's doing it to try and get out of the contest, then he's failed every single fucking time because the whistle blows. He's yet to ever once get out of the contest.
I like that Pryko called him out, and as I said, I don't care about the poo-poo thing and not having his own backyard in order, because it just Selwood's needed to be called out on this, and it's about time someone with some genuine clout did it, and not just us.
I like how the media go the soft angle. Like, they'll go, "Oh, McLean ducks too much," but Selwood, "Oh, he's so brave, so brave." But they're basically doing the same thing.
Oh, yeah, but did you notice that Richo was quick to call out Lindsay Thomas? Like, talk about hitting an easy target.
I guess the difference between them, he doesn't quite do the arm raising. He does the Superman dive, as soon as you breathe on him.
No, but he didn't bring that up. He said that Lindsay Thomas ducks. I don't remember Lindsay Thomas ducking. He dives.
Exaggerates dives and stuff like that.
He did have a period there where he ducked quite a bit. He did both.
What's the name of the Brisbane player that got like the most high
Matheson.
tackles in a game?
Reece Matheson.
It's funny because when he does it, I know that Shuey does it as well, and I reckon it's pretty fucking sad. But when they do it, people tend to shit on it. But when Selwood does it, you're right. They talk about how courageous he is. I just don't understand the difference.
Every fucking time.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Good bloke, Joel Selwood.
Yeah, it's like he's held to a different set of standards than the others.
Of course he's a good bloke.
Definitely.
He's part of the Holy Trinity.
Devil's threesome.
Went from the big three to the Holy Trinity.
Who still haven't won a game together.
Yeah, no. And with Ablett doing his hamstring, it might be a while before they do too.
Oh, Bender, you were at the game. Somebody on the Geelong board said they heard Eagles supporters cheering when Ablett did his hamstring.
I don't know. I know.
He wouldn't take his kids to Perth. Wasn't that years ago?
Yeah, he's the one. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think after that, he said he's definitely he wouldn't take his grandkids there now because of the LED system, because he doesn't want them to get cut on the fence. But I know he walked past us to go back to the change rooms, like right in front of me. I do emphasise that on purpose, and everyone clapped when he walked past. I don't think anyone really cheered. I think everyone kind of knew what happened and made the kind of that kind of ooh sound, but that's about it. I can't remember everyone cheering, but I think
supporters take the clapping and think that they're cheering that he's injured. It's fucking
we always cop a bad rap for that sort of shit.
You do boo a lot.
Yeah.
Boo a lot. But,
This is true. Yeah, no one's denying that.
Did they say that you clapped or did you boo?
We were doing both. Like we were really confused. We were clapping and booing. Like,
No, it's your first instinct. So, can anyone update me if Chris Scott managed to get his dry run correct and got back to the coach's box?
I didn't see him not in there, so I guess his dry run was successful.
How many attempts do you think he needed?
Maybe that's why they lost.
Because he was too busy doing time trials.
Let's go to next talking point, the Power Puffer investigation.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
They've named the player, haven't they?
Yeah, Power Puffer.
yeah, Peter Piper picked a peck of whatever his name is.
Without asking.
Yes, he picked a peck by the sounds of it.
So what's the story we got out of this? Like, it's the rumour's sexual assault, but it's not, the girl's not going to the police. So
yeah, so she's
end.
claiming that he's stuck his hand down her skirt or something.
Ooh.
That's nasty.
Uninvited, apparently. It just is weird. Isn't it usually up a skirt? But I don't know. But the wording from the Channel 7 interview is down the skirt. I'm not sure how that works. Just seems like
he doesn't seem like the brightest guy.
But isn't this an annual thing with Port Adelaide? Don't they sort of every year they have to have somebody who does something really stupid, gives them bad press, bad headlines?
Well, so far it's him twice, because his mates, they racially abused some Sudanese guy in the pre-season as well. So it might just be a him problem.
Well,
next he'll be shitting in someone's locker.
Get him doing some landscaping and off to the salvos.
So suspended against the game against Essendon, the latest reporters. Yeah, he's shocked to be sitting here. Yep.
Yeah, they're really going to need him to beat Essendon. They're really going to need an inside mid to beat Essendon.
So they're already admitting he's at fault. They're not investigating any further. They've already suspended him.
From what I can see, she hasn't gone to the police. She's gone to the media. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
She's gone straight to Channel 7, apparently.
And the club.
Actually, I just read that wrong. It's Channel 7 saying he's going to be suspended. No decision has been made about his immediate future. I should really read ahead. I got stuck on this word tonight. It was spelt wrong. What?
Well done, man. Way to go with alternative facts, you dickhead.
So, I don't know. I don't have much out of this one. I hear St Kilda are interested in trading for him, though.
They like the cut of his jib.
They wouldn't like the cut of his hair. Have you seen his head?
Yeah, that's a bit strange, isn't it?
He looks like he'd fit in with those two dickheads, Sidebottom and Reed, with their stupid fucking haircuts. Like, way to avoid going bald, guys. It's really obvious now.
Do you want to take a stab at the pain-killing injection story?
Stab.
Is this the one that was banned and then legal? And
Yeah, it's like it's almost like Thymosin or AOD all over again, but a painkiller. And
so this
no cheating.
Apparently Gil's explanation didn't really make sense. It wasn't on the wider list, therefore it's okay. But now it is on the list, and now it's okay. It's a lot of spin.
Yeah, apparently it's like it's not widely available, but you can apply for it through the therapeutic something or other.
The TGA,
Yeah.
Therapeutic Goods Association.
Yeah, so you can apply for it and have it legal, which I think makes it technically legal under WADA if you have it approved and you legally obtain it. But if you black market obtain it, it's not.
So who was
That's
using it?
So basically, Dean Wallace is keeping a spreadsheet, and he's got all the names. It's all good. It's all good. He's got a spreadsheet.
A high-profile interstate player with knee problems who was a touch-and-go chance to play round one.
Oh, so now Nui's been on it, hey?
Yeah, well, that was my thoughts too. I'm like, that sounds to me like the most obvious way of saying Nick Nat Nui.
Did they say he's a player that was black and better than ever?
It seems a very strange situation for the AFL to be going through, considering the Essendon saga is still fresh in the memory that something like this can happen and be such a clusterfuck.
So you're saying the AFL's been inconsistent? Well, that's the first.
No, not inconsistent, just very silly, like for not getting ahead of this one.
No wonder he's ragdolling bloody players all over the place. He's heft up on something.
Can't feel anything.
He walks up to that fence. He goes, "Doesn't hurt, doesn't hurt, doesn't hurt."
Yeah, give him 2 or 3 years, and instead of ragdolling people, he'll be biting them on the neck. He'll turn into walking dead.
It's an interesting story. I think there's a slight exaggeration going on, but it just seems really silly that the AFL would not be on top of this and would not be consistent from knowing where they stand. They were really unprepared for this, and they really shouldn't be.
Well, this is not a first time where AFL's made things up on the run, is it?
No, but point being, they shouldn't have had to. They should have actually known what they were getting into. Next talking point, I think Ant can give us. You found an interesting quote today.
Do you guys all remember the should have gone to the Gold Coast threads?
North Melbourne, yes.
Yes, and also combine that with which player on the North Melbourne board were they adamant every single year they're going to get?
I believe that was brother of Andrew Swallow, David.
Correct. Well, Andrew Swallow, who's just come out recently, said, "Oh man, I wish North Melbourne would have gone to the Gold Coast. I fucking love it there. Would have been awesome." I mean, he's winning the heart and souls of all, the banana guy was spitting his banana going, "What the fuck?"
Oh, shit.
Hansel was on the ground, and then the Hawks guy picked it up and but
Terrible. It really is a terrible thing for an ex-captain to say.
It's an ex-captain. I forgot he was captain.
Happy about this.
Like, for the captain at the time to have said that after all that the club went through, I think is just so incredibly poor.
Why didn't he speak up at the time if he wanted to go to the Gold Coast?
Yeah, what? They would have traded him.
He would have got to play with his brother.
It would have been great, him at the Gold Coast. It was a win-win. Except for the North supporters, of course.
Some things we can't even think of. They're just so bizarre that you would never think to even troll about them. And then he comes out with something like that.
It'd be like an awful player saying, "Gee, I wish I merged with Melbourne." I would have loved it.
Well, Kennett's still trying to merge Hawthorn. Anything else on that?
I don't think there's much more to say to that. I mean, all I can say was Andrew Swallow was right. They should have gone to the Gold Coast.
Gold Coast. Last one on North. Apparently Good Friday's in danger based off North and St Kilda.
Well, they should have kept it with the Bulldogs. I mean, we had, I think the first year they did it, of the 40,000 people there, 39,000 were Bulldog supporters.
No, but you lost it because Jake Stringer went to the Children's Hospital and took a dump in one of the wards. So you weren't allowed back.
Yeah, then he propositioned a 5-year-old.
Hey, he's at Essendon now.
Hey, Stringer's at the right club, isn't he? Fit in well with Mr. Aaron and.
He's a bit flexible on the rules and morals.
But no, like, apparently St Kilda were that bad, they've gone and ruined it for North.
But it was a pretty horrible game, wasn't it? I mean, and I think Gill has backpedaled on that because I actually heard an interview with him when he was saying, "Oh, you know, even a big, big 4 teams in the game can still have a bad game." Blah blah blah. I think he's realised he's hurt old man North, and they're upset, and he's throwing him a bone. So I think next year North will be playing the Gold Coast or Giants on Good Friday.
Oh yeah, that'll get a huge crowd.
Do we want to discuss Melbourne getting rid of pokies?
Well, I have to admire them as the first club to do something like this and really make it a stand in the Victorian market to
Forgo profits.
Maybe other clubs. Yeah, I mean, no one else has done this, so maybe there'll be other clubs will follow behind. Big kings like Hawthorn or Carlton might decide to change them.
Family
Hawthorn have the most pokies, I think, and majority of their pokies aren't in the eastern suburbs where their supporters are. They're out west, where they can suck the blood out of the low socio-economic areas.
How many machines do they have, though?
They don't have many.
Oh, well that's really hard to get out of.
But when you're Melbourne, every million counts.
But to be fair to Melbourne, though, at least they're making the conscious choice to get out because of moral issues, where the only reason North closed down their pokies because they couldn't make money out of them. Only club in the world who could not make money out of pokies.
I'll never understand how that happened, but
if they had the North brothel, you couldn't get a route there.
Apparently they're going into childcare. Is that the thing? That's the new focus? Something like that?
Yeah,
That's
really
weird.
So basically, they open up the childcare next to the Hawthorn pokies, and instead of the Hawthorn supporters leaving their kids in the car, they can leave them in the... It's a win-win.
Drop them off at the childcare and go and play the pokies.
Yeah. Max Gorn can read them bedtime stories and scare the crap out of the kids.
Yeah, that's what you want. Fucking Clayton Oliver composes the clown. This is Clary the Clown, kids. Oh.
Yeah, I swear I read it was something to do with, like child care centres or some shit. Like, clubs are trying to diversify away from pokies. Richmond have, like, a whole bunch of gyms and shit, and obviously Collingwood are looking after Pendles' gym, and, they're trying to find other revenue streams, whilst Hawthorn still go with pokies.
What do you mean other revenue streams? We've got 47 fucking sports that we play.
Yeah, but none of those are profitable.
Yeah, well, I don't know how, considering that half the fucking Australian team plays for Collingwood, yet we can't fucking win.
Well, at least it's Melbourne going into childcare and not St Kilda. That wouldn't make sense.
Well, they only have to have one room because they only make fucking girls. St Kilda.
Questions, there's only one. It's from Bosk. By failing to play a ruckman against Nick Lyset, Chris Scott has been shown up as a useless hack. Could you believe this would be about Geelong? Should Richmond charitably allow Blake Carousella to return to the Cats to take over?
Yes.
No, no sympathy for Geelong.
No.
I want to see how this ends for Chris Scott.
I blame the Bulldogs for this whole "we don't need to play a ruckman" bullshit.
We played a ruckman. He's very skinny and...
I thought it was the fault of 7th best.
7th best.
Old 7th best Grigg. Premiership ruckman.
Premiership ruckman. No. I think that, it's been shown that you can't play 2 ruckmen, but playing 1 is still a good idea. And why can't Blitzarves play in the ruck?
Because his hands keep getting cut on fences and shit.
Well, they wouldn't if he was in the ruck. He's the prototype, the supreme athlete, blah, 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 blah. What an absolute wank that was when everyone thought that Blitzarves was going to be a good footballer.
Well, basically, players like him, when they banned the third man up rule, Blitzarves became ineffective.
Yes, and it's taken Geelong. They've been trying to find something for him to do ever since.
Well, he played 1 good game, and it was because he played on Scott Pendlebury. I rest my case. I'm sure your dad mustn't have watched that day.
Best player in the competition, apparently.
What a ridiculous comment.
And he said it all over a Cyril tap. It was one of those silly little Cyril...
He said it over a Cyril tap. That's so absurd.
It was just a Cyril tap from the boundary inboard, and someone took possession. He just turns down Oh, and he goes, that's why he's the best player in the competition. I was like, oh, you're fucking kidding.
No, he's a Richmond supporter, isn't he?
No, he's gone.
Collingwood. That makes sense because he'd be all on the Dusty bandwagon then, wouldn't he?
What was his reasoning that Dusty's not the best?
Doesn't do shit like tap-ons. I don't know. It was such a ridiculous... Like, it's one of those things, you know how someone says something so stupid, you don't know quite how to refute it straight out off the bat?
Because you just like, there's no way you can actually believe that.
I can't understand the premise of your argument to actually refute it, you know?
No, this is not something that... This just does not compute.
Yeah.
So basically, if this was a forum, you'd post the blinking eye meme guy or something like that.
Yeah.
Or that Bogan, that what the fuck was.
Half from Blink 182, yeah.
Let's go to this week on the Bay. Thread of the week, do we have one?
I don't know. What about the Collingwood game thread? That was pretty funny with all the bad spelling.
Well, I still like the squib of the week. I like that Wiedering won it, and I liked that Carlton Flog had a cry.
Oh, wasn't
Hilarious.
that the Falling Star? The squib of the week's Gary Jr.
Oh yeah,
at the moment.
the Falling Star. Yeah, I like the Falling Star because just for the pure melt of that dickhead whose name I can't pronounce.
I thought he was going to get Flog of the week.
He is. No. We're getting there.
Okay. I want to nominate one that I've only become aware of thanks to One-Eyed Saner, who very kindly tagged me in on Sunday. But for those who don't know, the St Kilda board have decided to start their own eco thread.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
So they're emotionally checked out over at the St Kilda board. They're asking for advice as to how to deal with being eco.
The premise that One-Eyed Saner could ever actually be emotionally checked out of anything also does not compute. Because there has not been a more emotionally unstable human on Big Footy than him. I hope he's listening this week.
I like giving him shit about how he thinks finishing second all those years was better than finishing third. And I'm like, but it's both the same. You didn't win. No, but we were better because we finished second. No, but it doesn't matter. You lost.
The Pluggy used to get like that with the grand finals as well, about they were still, worth something.
Well, when you create a streak DVD, that is worth something to you.
Well, they shunt their premiership off into a dark room.
It's still my desktop background. Well, it was, but now I've got a new job, so I don't have a computer anymore.
Jasney's thread, lol, remember when everyone thought Essendon were a top 4 side this year? I didn't mind that one either.
But who actually thought Essendon were going to be a top 4 side? Just they're the type of team who's going to beat up on some teams and go to water as soon as they get a contested hard ball team at them.
Essendon supporters, I guess.
So other than all the Essendon supporters in the media and Essendon supporters themselves, did anyone really think they were a chance?
Nope.
No.
I had them 9th.
I had them 12th. Stand by that too.
Do you give a shit about the Commonwealth Games by Mothra? Wasn't bad.
No. Haven't watched a minute of it.
Well, I did. I watched I watched Australia play Fiji today in the netball. We scored 108 goals, I think.
Oh, wow.
Fucking hell.
Didn't New Zealand get knocked out by some minnow?
They got beaten by Malawi.
Malawi.
No, but in netball, they're not.
I know.
They got beaten by Malawi, which is hilarious.
Isn't that where Angelina Jolie gets baby?
Yeah. Yeah. So it was pretty much the Pitt Jolie family playing. Adam Treloar's girlfriend played in centre today. It was very impressive. Played a good game. So, yeah, I'll go for the Commonwealth Games thread. Also,
more for the backfire of it, but name your club's winning streaks from Gisbert to Bates. Decided to start one saying North Melbourne +1.
Yeah, Mike, I'm going to give props to Mike for being the first person to say Collingwood, having Collingwood Melbourne +1.
What one? Oh, so I didn't mind Melbourne become the first team to say no to pokey profits from Sir Hugh Percy either. That was pretty good. He caught all sorts of fish in that thread, not just North ones.
Yeah, I don't care.
Right in time for Flog of the Year, we've been joined by Bay 13's resident ladder collector, Dan.
Was that my intro, was it?
That was your intro, yeah. Do you have any Flog of the Week nominations?
God, there probably is, but I can't really think of any.
What about Andrew Swallow? Is he a flog?
Why? Because of the Gold Coast stuff.
Yeah.
He should have gone to the Gold Coast now.
Should have gone to the Gold Coast. Every fucking when that shit was going on, I would hear bitter people yelling out, "Oh, you should have gone to the Gold Coast after
Maybe Andrew
the
Swallow was
team
listening
would
going,
lose
yeah, I should have.
You got to think about it. Dan,
Yeah.
how was your banana at Saturday's game?
How was my what?
Your banana.
And why do you have your shoes off, you weird cunt?
And why were you holding it with 2 hands?
Have I missed something? What? How was my banana and why was my shoes off?
Well, there's only 2 other North supporters and Northern and you, so
I'm assuming there's a photo of this individual that decided to have his shoes off and
Yeah.
And eat floor bananas.
yeah, the big strawberry Big M.
If only he did, that would have been more compelling.
Was he smoking on the toilet? This is another thing that's going to be taken into account.
Can someone explain to me what this whole
Oh,
banana...
there was a guy next to me and he had his shoes off. I don't know why. And then he had a banana on the ground in the photo that I took. And then in like about halfway through the last quarter or whatever, he ate the banana and it had been sitting on the ground the whole time. And it looked like it had been squashed. It was brown. So we decided it was you.
If you really thought that was me, did it occur to you just to go, hey?
No, Dan, because anytime I ever say Dan to somebody, if I ever do actually find you, you're just going to be like, no.
No, I wouldn't be like that.
Anyway, flog of the week. Morgs, you wanted to go?
Oh, that Carlton Lafrog, whatever. I can't pronounce his name. That dickhead who got so defensive over Jacob Wiedering. Grow up, you idiot. He's not very good at football.
Can I nominate Dan for flog of the week?
Yes.
Took the real easy option with that Melbourne thread, Dan.
What do you mean the real easy option?
Well, you sunk the boots in before, whilst you're still at the time. Could have started any other time.
Because the streak was about to turn 18. He was about to become an adult. And
Well, you didn't.
really, they should have ended it last year when they got 2 opportunities at it. And what else did I say? Oh, yeah, and Nathan Jones is a bald-headed cunt. We all know that. And his little brother wants to be regarded in the same because he's got that same bald-headed romper-stomper look with the sleeve tats. You know, they're sooks. They complained about training. And we had this beautiful streak against them, and now it's ended. And that kind of sucks. So I'm being nominated for Flog of the Week because I created that thread.
Yep. Who else we got?
How about anyone with the name Connor and who comes from Ireland? They all seem to be fucking up this week or last week.
It's not been a good week to be an Irish person.
What about Grug?
What's Grug done?
I don't know. It's just being
Who's
Grug.
He's just an attention-seeking whore.
Is that Vesty?
It's Vesty.
Oh, God, that shithead is posting shit on my profile and sending me messages.
Yeah, just all the threads and the talking in the third person and, yeah.
Hey, do you want to be friends? No, I don't want to be your friend. Fuck off.
Dan, you're a very unfriendly person, clearly.
It's Vesty, though.
But who else is it? It's all the pork guys, isn't it, that jump onto that account, is it?
I don't know how many of them it is, but at least it's not just Vesty.
Yeah. No, I'll nominate him. And isn't he liking his own posts? Grug's liking Red Vest's posts and Red Vest is liking Grug's.
Oh, Wondering. I hadn't even considered that.
Yeah, there's one on the main board. Like, I think his first post is like by Red Vest, and I was like, oh, is someone chucking the old Wona?
Yeah, nah, definite flog of the week.
Next week's games, so we'll do the tips for those. We'll go through them really quickly. Who wants to take the tips for this week?
Yeah, I'll do the tips.
All right. Crows versus Collingwood at Adelaide Oval.
Adelaide.
Crows before hose. What?
Crows before bros. Before spelt B-E-F-O-U-R.
Giants and the Puffs out at Canberra, I think that is.
Just on a talking point on Giants, so we're going to mention the fact that they've changed their name.
Oh, yeah, they did too. They've gone and done the North and they've dropped the place and just called themselves Giants.
But in capitals as well, so they're
Yeah,
shouting.
they got to put it in capitals.
Well, I'm going to go for Giants! And that's how they must be referred to from now on. The sound of the mighty Giants!
No, I can't wait till someone like fucking Dwayne twigs to that. The Dwayne bot will be all over that. Richmond versus the Bryans at our cheat ground.
Richmond.
Dogs versus the Colas at Etihad.
Colas?
Ooh.
You're never getting that tip from me. Didn't matter who you were playing.
North versus Carlton.
North.
It'd be fun if Carlton won, though, wouldn't it?
Eagles versus the...
Can't see him losing a game. What do you mean?
Is this 2 home games in a row for the Swans? Sorry, the Suns.
Yeah, it is. This is a neutral game for West Coast. This is their first of 3 neutral games at Perth Stadium for the year against the Suns.
I'll go with the Wiggles.
Boo! Oh, hang on, you tipped us. Sorry, I got confused again.
You have to boo and clap, Bender.
Gary Ablett.
Boo!
Just don't whack that fence when you do it. Essendon versus the Puffers.
Oh, the Puffers, please.
Hawthorn versus Melbourne in the merger game.
Hawthorn.
And Geelong versus St Kilda in the Chris Scott versus Richardson game, where I'm sure Richardson will just let them win.
Of course he will, because he wouldn't want to actually have to take a stand and have a backbone. What a typical fucking spineless St Kilda fuck he is. He belongs to that club. Geelong, to get a win without having the Devils threesome.
That's in Geelong, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think it's Geelong home game.
Oh, but Geelong play home games not just at Geelong Starburns.
That's true.
Only when it suits them.
It's everybody else's fault.
Wow! Don't boo us loudly.
They need a safe space.
No wonder they didn't win on the weekend. They got triggered by the booing. They thought they were back at the fucking G. This is like Richmond all over again. If Geelong got taken into the bush on a bus, they'd just play them booing noises.
Reminds me of the prelim final the Dogs played against the Giants. When the Giants actually complained to AFL that there was more dogs in the crowd than theirs, so we booed them onto the ground.
The Giants. This was the Flogcast for round 4. Starburns joined by Wooshette.
See you later.
Morgs.
Giants!
Bender.
Thanks for having me.
Ant.
Yeah, thanks for me having a bite there.
And Dan.
Well, this is a waste of time. We've been here for 5 minutes.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.